Good afternoon, all of you folks. I told you this morning this was going to be a special treat, and indeed it will be. I'm Tom Bierman. I'm chairman of the Live and Learn Committee. We have a wonderful committee that works hard to bring all these exciting programs to you. And I'm going to turn the microphone over to my dear friend Libby Book, who has organized this wonderful program for you, and she's going to introduce the Chancellor.
It's great to see this room full of people. Thank you all so much for coming. We are really honored this afternoon to have the Chancellor of the North Carolina, University of North Carolina School of the Arts as our guest. But before I turn the microphone over to him, I just want to lay the groundwork, give you just a bit of history and a little touch of what he's accomplished in 4.5 years. Many of you know the history of the School of the Arts. It was the first state-supported conservatory of the arts in this country. And it was created by the legislature in 1963. It didn't actually get into action until 1965 when it landed in Winston-Salem. And really that was due to efforts of both John Ely and Phil Haynes and many others who raised money for that to happen. And also that included the donation of the land where the school is located, which includes the previous Haynes High School. And that's across town, up the hill from Old Salem, located between Main and Montana Streets. And I know you know that, but in case you didn't. All right, for the some 50 years that it's been in existence, the university has nurtured 5 arts training schools: music, dance, drama, filmmaking, and design and production. Today, it's become the vibrant, creative epicenter of extraordinary arts training, luring technically skilled and artistically inspired students from all over the U.S. and beyond, who will be entering this multi-billion-dollar global arts and educational industries. Lindsay Bierman was named the 8th Chancellor of the School of the Arts in the summer of 2014. He has a very eclectic background and has proven to be a dynamic and inspirational leader. He grew up in Detroit, in that area, but he moved east and earned a bachelor's degree in history and French at Georgetown University. And then he followed, that was in 1987. And in 1993, he got his master's degree in architecture from UVA. After that, he worked for the prestigious architectural firm of Robert A.M. Stewart in New York before he accepted a position with the publisher of Southern Living magazine. And when he later worked his way up, he became editor-in-chief of that publication. And I'm sure you had heard that before. He has brought his marketing and his digital media experience with him from that position to UNCSA. Now here at UNCSA, he leads nearly 1,300 students from high school through graduate school, as well as 700 summer students, 500 community school students, and a staff and faculty of about 600. So he's a busy fellow. Since coming here, he's overseen the school's reaccreditation by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools and built a transformative academic leadership team with a new provost, a new vice provost, and 4 new deans. He's appointed several new vice chancellors and senior officers to recognize and reorganize the institution's advancement, IT, marketing, and performance facilities operations. He's applied his digital media experience to a complete rebuild of UNCSA's website. It is now uncsa.edu, which has received several national awards. And these changes have driven up the number of applications to UNCSA and boosted the school's pool of applicants. In fact, they had that number raised by 30% last year. Now, Bierman has also shepherded extensive fundraising efforts, and total dollars raised since 2014, in the 4.5 years he's been here, have tripled. I think that's quite a handsome number. He is currently leading an exciting new effort called Powering Creativity, the campaign for UNCSA, but you will hear more about that. He has passionately championed creative leadership, research and grant and curricular programs, and he's pushing an entrepreneurship and innovation, which he will tell you more about. He's led a steady rise in rankings and recognition for the school's degree programs. Many of the professional journals that you and I don't read every day, like On Stage and this and that and the other, send out their rankings. And it's interesting to notice that dance has been named in the top 10 in the country, school dance. Design and production is named second in the country. Drama is named 5th in the world. Music is 5th of the top 25 that were ranked. Filmmaking, 8th in the country. And UNCSA itself is ranked the top, highest ranked art specialty school by Money Magazine. So he's accomplished a lot. In addition, with his architectural background, Bierman has overseen the planning and construction projects for the school's living and learning environment. He's engaged Robert Stern Architects to create a comprehensive master plan for the main campus, a detailed proposal for new residence halls, and a long-term vision for adjoining properties, to include the historic Stevens Center downtown. In his free time, he chairs the Keenan Institute for the Arts. He works with the city's top business leaders as a member of the Winston-Salem Alliance, and he serves on the National Advisory Council for Reynolda House Museum of Modern Art, American Art, and he's on the board of the River Run Film Festival. While serving on the UNCSA's Board of Visitors about the last 3 years, I've been astounded by the amount and the pace of change on campus, by the scope and the intensity of his leadership, and the expansion of the school's cultural and economic impact across our region. We are deeply grateful that Lindsay Bierman has taken the time today to share his insight into the role that UNCSA now plays as a world-renowned arts conservancy, producing artists whose work not only touches our souls, but spurs investment, sparks economic development, and helps communities to thrive. So please give a very warm welcome to the Chancellor, Lindsay Bierman.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tom, Lily, thank you both so much for the invitation and the logistics and for making this happen, and for that introduction. Thank you so much. I'm excited to tell you all about the great things that are happening at UNCSA. I think you're already aware of a lot of what we do and have been doing, and so today I'd like to share with you what I consider to be the future of the industry, the future of the entertainment industry, and how UNCSA is leading how we're shaping human expression. And there are a lot of exciting initiatives. We set out to achieve even the most ambitious goals of the 5-year strategic plan that we launched in 2015. I won't bore you with all the details. If you want a little nighttime reading, you can go to our website and see the strategic plan, but I'll give you the highlights. I'm very, very proud of the fact that applications have increased about 30% year over year, as Libby mentioned. And that's so important, not because UNCSA wants to grow, but because we want to be more selective. We want to make sure that we are accepting the best of the best. And these students, by the time they get to us, they work so incredibly hard, and they work their entire lives up to that point to get in. And so by increasing the number of applications, we're able to be even more selective. And that has an impact on what you all see when you attend performances. Best of all, we've raised, Libby mentioned the campaign, we've raised about $45 million in a $65 million campaign, yes. And the progress and transformation we've made over the last 4.5 years would not have been possible without the support of so many of you in this room. So thank you all. I'm going to just give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. And as we enter the public phase of our campaign later this fall, I hope you'll consider all the ways you can help shape the future human expression through your gift, as many of you have done already. And I would not be doing my job if I didn't make a plug to let you know that we have a menu of naming opportunities ranging from 5 to 8 figures. So, call me. Okay, moving on. It is probably safe to assume that you are all familiar with the slogan, City of Arts and Innovation. It has always been a very fitting title for the big, small southern town that founded the nation's first arts council in 1949. I love this photograph. That's the Winston-Salem Arts Council there. And followed that up in the mid-1960s by raising nearly $1 million in a 2-day phone-a-thon to establish the North Carolina School of the Arts. And for the town where Wake Forest University and enlightened developers have transformed the abandoned tobacco manufacturing empire into a world-renowned innovation district. So much to be proud of. So now, it would be natural to assume that the arts in innovation, in the City of Arts and Innovation, refers to UNCSA and the Winston-Salem Symphony and other arts organizations. And that innovation belongs to Wake Forest, the city's medical sector, and our colleagues at Forsyth Tech, Salem College, and Winston-Salem State. That's because most people equate innovation with technology, and by extension, with the work of doctors, scientists, engineers, and researchers. But artists, not so much. We tend to think of artists as performing works that have already been historic works, and we don't really associate innovation with artists. That's why STEM programs, and I'm referring to STEM as the acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. That's why the STEM programs get all the attention and funding. I believe there is an unspoken and deep-seated assumption that teaching disciplines such as dance or music or other creative disciplines doesn't drive economic or job growth in cities like Winston-Salem, nor, it is assumed, does it drive innovation. So in my role as Chancellor of one of the nation's leading arts institutions, it is my duty to offer a counter-narrative. And I hope you will all help evangelize this with me as you at various cocktail parties. The arts and entertainment is a thriving, growing, $700 billion national industry that abounds with opportunities for our young graduates. The creative industries, this was always a surprising fact to me, the creative industries comprise a larger segment of our nation's economy than transportation and agriculture. And there's plenty of research to suggest that creative entrepreneurs, or artists, catalyze growth and define the brand identity of hot cities like Austin and Nashville. and I think potentially Winston-Salem. There is so much more to our industry than what you see on the stage or the screen. The actors or performers who get all of the attention, right? We tend to think of the dancer or the violinist. Hardly anyone thinks about all of the complex mechanics, and this is behind the scenes at Cirque du Soleil. Hardly anyone seems to think about the complex mechanics, the logistics, the intricacies of staging a live performance, and all of the technology behind that. There is an army of technicians behind any successful filmmaker or producer. No one often thinks about how animatronics, which you see here at Disney, how animatronics bring magic kingdoms to life in theme parks all across the globe, or how all of that and more brings joy to the hearts of millions of ticket-buying, movie-going, cable-watching, music-loving, entertainment-seeking audiences and consumers in every country on this earth. And that's why this Chancellor will never cede the attribute of innovation to STEM disciplines. Continuous innovation has defined and advanced the arts over the course of centuries, and it will profoundly impact the UNCSA curriculum, drive our strategic priorities, and it will upend the world's creative industries and the industry that we serve in the years ahead. So to be clear, by innovation, I mean not only technological breakthroughs, but original interpretations, enhanced techniques, emerging platforms, and groundbreaking masterworks that can inspire the world. So to prepare our students for the accelerated pace of change, not only in the creative industries, but in every industry, UNCSA must fully embrace and lead disruption. It is so vital to our mission that we made innovation one of the 5 pillars of our campaign. The importance of the other 4 pillars, student scholarships, faculty support, campus facilities, and community engagement, really don't need much explanation. They're easily understood. But I'm often asked to elaborate on the concept of innovation in the context of an arts conservatory. It's how we're positioning UNCSA to lead the industry rather than to follow it. And I'm proud to highlight the most promising leading-edge initiatives from each of our schools on our campus. And there are many programs and initiatives that I think most of you are probably not aware of, but they are programs and initiatives that I think you'll start to see emerging in a lot of what we do. And it builds on the traditions of the Arts Conservatory. I'm going to start with the School of Drama, which is widely considered to be one of the best in the world, and led by our newest dean, Scott Ziegler, who spent the last 22 years running the renowned American Repertory Theater's Institute for Advanced Theater Training at Harvard University. We were so fortunate to get Scott. He took on a nearly impossible challenge at UNCSA, build on the legacy and success of the school's classical actor training, by aligning the curriculum with the new realities of the 21st century. And he, of course, followed Carl Forsman, and before that, the legendary Gerald Friedman. And so Scott has had a big challenge ahead of him. But Scott, in addition to fostering entrepreneurship and expanding on-camera training, or on-camera acting, Scott and his faculty are exploring alternative approaches to educating actors by creating an emphasis on what's known in industry speak as devised theater. So you are all probably familiar, or you've heard of productions that are actually examples of devised theater, but you may not know it yet. And so I'm going to share a couple of examples, and you'll be able to see one in April at UNCSA. So the term refers to devised theater is a highly collaborative and improvisational method of theater making for the social media age. So in a normal production that we're all used to, rehearsals begin with a fully developed script, and in devised theater, the script gets written and fleshed out along the way by all of the actors, directors, designers, and everyone else who's involved with the production. So a popular example of the genre is something you may have heard of called Sleep No More, and it's an acclaimed off-Broadway immersive thriller based on Shakespeare's Macbeth. And it was quite the buzz in New York City. To develop this new devised curriculum in the School of Drama, Dean Ziegler, recruited none other than this guy, an Emmy-nominated actor, Andy Paris, to join our faculty. Andy is the co-creator of the most often produced work of devised theater, the Laramie Project, and he is a founding member of the show's producer, Tectonic Theater Project, which is an award-winning company dedicated to developing innovative works. And their plays have been performed all over the world. Andy was a huge get, as was Dean Ziegler. So if you want to experience devised theater for yourself, next month UNCSA will present Still Life with Rocket, which was created by faculty member and alumna Molly Maxner. It opens April 4th. It'll be unlike anything you've ever experienced. It was the winner of the 2018 Helen Hayes Awards for Outstanding Production and Outstanding Choreography. It's a moving story. It's a story of a family dealing with their mother's worsening dementia. Drama's expansion into devised theater will be echoed in our School of Design and Production, or DMP for short. Dean Michael Kelly, who joined us from Disney, he was at Disney Imagineering. He also happens to be a UNCSA alum. He says that devising will enable designers to become better storytellers because they'll be working more directly with actors throughout the process. Dean Kelly is also moving forward with an animatronics program, very cutting edge, which is the perfect marriage of art and innovation. I know this looks really weird. This is not a human that's been wired. This is an animatronic creature, and I'll get to what that is in a second. So animatronics touches just about every department in DMP, including stage properties, wig and makeup, prosthetics, stage automation, and robotics. DMP is training the next generation of artists for leadership roles in the fields of creature and animatronic design, sound engineering, and mechanical engineering for the entertainment industry and beyond. So what are animatronic creatures? So we've got, this is one of many, but that's one that you all know, Jurassic Park. So the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are all animatronic creatures. They're controlled by computers. And so these have amazing applications beyond entertainment. We've had representatives from the United States government on campus talking to the dean, and I can't say anything about it or I can be killed. Yeah, but you can figure it out. Just don't tell anyone. So you won't see dinosaurs roaming the campus, but you can see smaller creatures in our studios like the one you have seen, and we have a small version of a dinosaur called Lucy. So, the other thing that's happening at UNCSA, drones. That's because Dean Kelly and his faculty are exploring the use of drone technology in entertainment. And this has been happening at Cirque du Soleil, where we have over 80 alumni working behind the scenes. I don't know if you all know that statistic. We're their #1 source of labor, Cirque Las Vegas. Cirque was one of the first to use drones in a show about a turn-of-the-century lampmaker, which you see here, whose shades come to life in this whimsically choreographed flight above the stage. Isn't that wonderful? So imagine that in a live performance. Drones have also been used for dramatic special effects at shows like the halftime at the Super Bowl, stadium concerts, Olympic ceremonies, and even in the Rockettes' iconic holiday spectacular at Radio City Music Hall. And so all of the sparkling, those are all drones. And our students are learning to create fireworks with drones, and there's endless applications. Drones get kind of a bad rap because the FAA doesn't like them right now, but if you think about it in a stage environment, there's tremendous potential. Dean Kelly also promises me that he'll collaborate with Susan Jaffe, our beloved Dean of Dance, to implement drones in a future dance performance. So I personally love drones used in choreography with humans, so y'all will be among the first to know when that happens. In the meantime, Dean Jaffe, moving on to dance, has been doing some groundbreaking work of her own. I know many of you are big fans of Dean Jaffe, and at the Stevens Center last April, I happened to be seated next to a very distinguished dance historian, whose name is Elizabeth Kendall. It was for the debut of Carmina Terra. It was a breathtaking piece choreographed by Susan Jaffe. And at intermission, Elizabeth, who is this seen-it-all, been everywhere New Yorker, leaned over to me and she said, "You have got to find more time for Susan to do choreography. She is just she's just too good. I've never seen anything. No one's doing anything like this in New York. I thought, that is so cool, right here in Winston-Salem. But I've got, this dance historian next to me telling me this. So, I don't know the modern dancing like Elizabeth does, but I'll have to agree that Susan's recent premieres, which included, many of you may remember Metallurgy from 2015, and Carmina Terra from 2017, it blew audiences away, and it has inspired so many young dancers and choreographers. And so, it's one of the reasons why Susan has passionately supported the incubation of inventive works by others. It's one of the ways she gives back after her extraordinary career at American Ballet Theatre. In 2017, Susan launched our Choreographic Institute, which fosters new work by emerging and established choreographers who show exceptional promise. The Institute has already earned international recognition as a cutting-edge creative laboratory within our School of Dance, and I have been talking to potential supporters to permanently support the Choreographic Institute. Moving now from stage to screen, I am thrilled to tell you about what Susan Ruskin, the Dean of Filmmaking, has been working on. Under her leadership, the program has become a highly regarded pioneer in what's known as AR/VR, or Virtual and Augmented Reality. And UNCSA's newly launched Media and Emerging Technologies Lab, which we call METAL for short, is the result of her bold vision. So I'm going to take you back. If you all remember how smartphones changed our lives, right? So everyone, it's all this, you get a sense of how AR and VR are going to change the world. Right now, you may associate virtual reality with what we now call the box on the face. And there's a headset, and it's an experience that transports you physically to another place. It's hard to describe unless you've experienced it yourself, and I would encourage you we could bring you to the Media and Emerging Technology Lab for a demonstration for anyone who's interested. So I'm going to ask Libby or Todd to, let them know if you're interested, and we can arrange kind of a visit. There's an experience where you can experience walking down on a plank above 70 stories above a city, and you literally feel like you're there. It's watching people do it is hilarious. So anyway, there are many estimates that, including financial giant Goldman Sachs estimates that by 2025, revenues for AR/VR industries could reach $180 billion. It's a huge, huge industry, a huge opportunity. And METAL is headed by Ryan Schmaltz, who we recruited from the Bay Area, recently hosted the inaugural Future of Reality Summit at the UNCSA campus. This was a 2-day event. It was hosted by speakers and attendees from all of the world's top leading tech pioneers in this space. And we were so proud and excited to have them coming from New York and Los Angeles and London and Australia to Winston-Salem. And so just some of the attendees: Oculus, which is owned by Facebook, which is one of the largest pioneers in this space, VR Studios, IBM, and so on. We had the futurist of Paramount Pictures, people from the Tribeca Film Institute, and even representatives from the Lowe's Corporation, which is you probably know is based here in Mooresville, because they have a VR studio. So everyone was here to talk about the potential of this immersive, and it's just so hard to describe unless you experience. So she's wearing one of the headsets that transports you, and if on the first day of that summit, guests could learn how to trim hedges in VR. So I walked into the exhibition booth, and there was somebody with a hedge trimmer in the headset doing this. And I was like, what is he doing? And there was a screen, and you could see that he was learning to operate the machinery. So if you think about the potential with workforce training and other forklift, and there's other blue-collar trades that will be hugely impacted by this technology for training purposes. There's also, guests could learn to experience what it feels like to be on the battleground in the Middle East. There was a VR story about I don't remember exactly what was I can't remember which country it was, but there was an experience where you can go on the battleground in the Middle East, and you feel like you're right there in the middle of a major event. And this is gross, and I'm so sorry, but there was another thing with medical training to demonstrate the potential of medical training where you could perform a hysterectomy in VR. So, only at UNCSA, I kept telling myself, yeah. So, we're going to be training doctors on this technology as well. So, moving on from screen to score. Even the most seemingly conservative of disciplines we teach, which is classical music, can be seen as revolutionary when it's interpreted by new voices and performed in new contexts. Brian Cole, our wonderful Dean of Music, is finding ways for students to engage with the most accomplished and forward-thinking artists from across the cultural spectrum. So one of our signature programs, we're so proud of it, the Chrysalis Chamber Music Institute includes our partnership with the renowned Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center. And last fall, and I think Chrysalis just performed on campus, last month. And last fall, the School of Music hosted the highly acclaimed Sphinx Virtuosi, which is one of the nation's most dynamic chamber orchestras composed of Black and Latinx classical soloists. And they were here last October. They'll come back, I hope. Probably. So Brian has also recruited a diverse slate of guest conductors for the UNCSA Symphony Orchestra after the departure of Chris Lees for Charlotte, and this has opened up wonderful opportunities. Many of you may have experienced the concert last November, led by Joseph Young, Maestro Young, artistic director for ensembles at the Peabody Conservatory, and until recently he was assistant conductor of the Atlanta Symphony. Leading off next year's season in September will be the Chinese-American conductor Shen Zhang, who is conductor of the New Jersey Symphony, music director of BBC Wales, and the first woman to serve as music director of a major Italian orchestra, the Verdi Orchestra of Milan. Brian also applied his progressive vision to innovations in the School of Music's curriculum. Unlike the music industries of the 1960s, when we were founded, today's musicians need hands-on experience in production, distribution, and marketing before they graduate. So, to support that initiative, our faculty has developed a required Introduction to Music Technology course that would be taught at the beginning of degree programs, and they've updated the curriculum to embed basic digital audio and video production skills from the beginning of the learning cycle. We've also updated our main concert hall, this is Watson Hall, to support live streaming of performances, which will allow students to use an iPad to share their recitals on social media or to record them. So that's just a glimpse of how each of our arts conservatories are responding to global industry trends. It does not stop there. Our academic programs, which includes our liberal arts and our high school, are evolving to fully educate the whole artist. I want to give a shout out to Dean Wilcox, our aptly named Dean of Liberal Arts, and Martin Farrell, the Dean of our high school academic program, who have been working with the Olin College of Engineering on a series of workshops focused on designing robust project-based classes and modules. Our high school teachers share a deep commitment with their peers in liberal arts to nurture citizen artists who can think critically, collaborate freely, communicate powerfully, and reflect on contemporary art, life, and culture, skills that we know are in high demand in every industry. And I can't say enough about just how amazing our high school students are. They keep winning so many visual arts awards, and they go on to, I wish we had visual arts at the college level, they go on to all the best schools in the country. And many of them have had successful visual arts careers in some of the best galleries in the world. So I hope in some of our campus master planning that I'll be able to invite some of them back and commission some art installations by our alum on the campus as a way of helping transform the living and learning environment. To accelerate and expand the impact of innovation across the disciplines, of course, we have no greater partner than the Thomas S. Keenan Institute for the Arts, and I'm so proud to be the chairman of that board and to work alongside the executive director, Corey Madden, who's on my cabinet, and just one of the smartest people I know. They launched the Creative Catalyst Initiative earlier this year, and you'll hear more about that in coming months. It is a groundbreaking program designed to identify and prepare the next generation of arts leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs to spur economic development in North Carolina and in the Southeast, which is a part of our public mission as a public institution. It will include a professional online certification through an online program and on-site coaching, and it will offer competitive opportunities for paid fellowships. We're focusing that on the Southeast, if we can, in addition to our current fellowship programs at Lincoln Center and Kennedy Center. It will also provide educational workshops and convenings right here in Winston-Salem. And I think relevant to this room in particular, one of my longtime dreams has been to establish a lifelong learning program for, because I'm well aware, and I know this from my demographic research at Southern Living, there's just, people are retiring by the thousands every month. And I think there's a generation of, active, engaged, excited, people who are wanting to be involved directly with a university or an institution like ours, and I think that there's so much that we could do with a lifelong learning center that would just be so powerful, and so I'm just going to keep plugging away at that. It's on the list. So anyway, I thank you all so much for the support that you've given to our institution, for attending our performances, for your campaign contributions, and for your ongoing support. It has such a profound impact on our students. I know you're familiar with the work they do. They are just so passionate and so hardworking, and UNCSA is very, very intensive. It's not for everyone. The curriculum is really tough and rigorous, but they, they're in it, because they earned it. So I'm happy to take questions now if Libby says there's time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are blessed to live in the shadow of this inspiring university, and so proud of Lindsay Bierman. I do want to say one personal thing. I've spent my life as an advocate for the arts and public funding in the arts. And we are so proud at the North Carolina Arts Council to talk about STEAM and not STEM.
Yes.
You add an A to the STEM program and it becomes STEAM. And we'll keep on talking about STEAM.
Yes. Yes.
I know you've got a lot of questions. We've got microphones coming around. And Lindsay said he'll be glad to answer anything.
Anything.
What do you have going on with the choral and vocal arts, which are within a body rather in technology?
Well, so the digital production skills and the music curriculum, I think, is especially important for the vocal artists. Because they need to know how to market themselves, and they may need to be their own producers. So that's why those production skills apply to anyone who's playing an instrument, even if that instrument is your own voice. So the choral and the music students in the Fletcher Opera Institute and in the School of Music, I think would be well served, and we have a moral obligation, I think, to prepare them for the industry that exists now. And I think there was a time in the not-so-distant past, and this is true of so many institutions, where, I think that we were perhaps still, they were still educating people for the industry as it was. And so I am very, I'm pushing for continuing to kind of increase the pace at which we are able to better prepare them for the realities that they'll be facing.
As a newcomer to North Carolina, I'd like to know, where is the student interested in studying the visual arts going beyond high school?
Yeah. A lot of them go to places like, so the signs that we see around campus, we've got RISD, we have Juilliard, we have, well, they don't go to Juilliard for visual arts, but they often go from the high school to Juilliard or RISD.
I meant in North Carolina.
Oh, in North Carolina, where do they go? That's a good question. So the high school program, you can come in at various times, you can come in for all 4 years, and those are the visual artists. The musicians come in at various points along the way. Drama students come in the last year, and then dance is 2 years. Who am I forgetting? Yeah, film we don't have. So a lot of the visual artists, if they don't go to RISD or some other national institution that's known for visual arts, they'll go into D&P, so design and production. And a lot of them will focus on the more visual side of design and production, which would be scenic design, or another visual part of rather than stage management. The music students oftentimes, maybe, I don't know what the percentage is, but they'll often use that as a feeder into the School of Music. The drama students, for sure, come to UNCSA knowing that it is nearly impossible to get into because they want a leg up in the admissions process. Let me just tell you all about getting into the School of Drama. 800 applications or 900 applications this year, so they'll audition close to 900 students for 20 spots. It's harder to get into than Yale. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
You describe it as the entertainment industry.
Yes.
I think of it as the communications industry. Right, a little bit broader maybe than entertainment.
Yeah.
For example, the art of storytelling.
Yes. Yes.
It's not entertainment.
That's true. Yes, so a lot of our, and I do more narrowly refer to the entertainment industry. I think I should refer to it more broadly as the creative industries. So creative industries, we refer to arts and entertainment. And the reason I refer to entertainment industry most often is because most of the students, I would say the vast majority of the students, are coming to UNCSA because they want to go into the entertainment business in one form or another. So if you're a filmmaker, you might want to go and establish yourself in New York or Los Angeles, and then many of our students, many of our alums are now kind of establishing a network within the South and the Southeast. There's a group that I think is now forming in Charleston. There was a group in Austin. If we had film incentives back, and I know that that's been on and off in the legislature, and that somehow became a political issue, I'm not sure why. But if there was a group that really wanted to stay in North Carolina, and so I was at an event in Georgia where Governor Deal was bragging about kind of stealing the film industry from North Carolina, and a lot of our graduates are going to Atlanta. So that's part of the entertainment business. The other part of the entertainment business is in Broadway. So everyone's familiar with Playbill from Broadway Productions. So the Playbill is the thing that you get that has the show notes and advert ads and everything. And UNCSA is one of the top 10 schools mentioned in Playbill, along with other schools that it's typically Yale and Carnegie Mellon and Juilliard and UNCSA and a couple of other programs in there. And then Cirque du Soleil hires so many of our people, Disney, other organizations that are really a part of the global entertainment industry. But in storytelling, absolutely. There are people who go into various fields, advertising, marketing, where communication skills are an absolute must. And storytelling is all about brand building and communicating a brand value. So I think that that just tends to be less of why students come to you, or why students come to us, but thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, I've got a question.
Yeah.
What major changes are coming to the physical plant on your campus, and not least Stevens Center?
Yeah. Stevens Center. So the Stevens Center project is this gigantic rock that I have to push up a mountain. And I'm not sure I'm going to do it. You know, I'm a weightlifter as one of my hobbies, so, you know, I've just got to just keep pushing that thing. So the first phase, there were a lot of numbers flying around at the Stevens Center, and, I think just these numbers were sticking, and I said, okay, I need real numbers. We got to have real numbers. We need a real plan. People need to know what it is exactly that we are going to do with Stevens Center. So we hired Robert Stern Architects to do a conceptual master plan. We partnered with DLR Architects in Charlotte, who has been working on the Carolina Theater in Charlotte. Fantastic renovation. I visited with Michael Marsicano at Art Foundation for the Carolinas to see what they were doing there, and a lot of parallels between the Stevens Center and theirs is about a $55 million project, and we estimate ours to be about $55 million, and that includes renovation of the upper floors of the building. So it has been our #1 capital priority for the UNC system now, several years running, and STEM projects tend to get the funding and the attention, and so I've had to do a lot of lobbying and some behind-the-scenes kind of just trying to build support for and build a sense of, convey the sense of urgency with that building, because we had, many of you may remember, we had scaffolding out front. And the reason is because the terracotta was falling off the upper floors. And we love it when people say that the performances are to die for, but not literally. So we had to put up the netting on the upper floors to prevent the terracotta from falling. Board of Governors came for a tour, and our facilities team was busy trying to get the netting up and remove the scaffolding. And I said, "Oh no, don't take the scaffolding away. I need the scaffolding. It makes a point." So I have been, I'm so on it. It drives me nuts. That building is, the water is pouring in the roof and the upper floors, and it's a very serious problem. And I'm worried that, I don't mean to sound melodramatic, but it's my frustration level with that project is very high, and we're not alone in the UNC system in having deferred maintenance issues. So every chancellor has their sort of major pet project that's eating away at them. Stevens Center is mine. There are other buildings on campus that have very serious deferred maintenance issues that we're working to address. We have new leadership and facilities, and we have some money from the bond a couple of years ago, the NC Connect bond. So it doesn't get us all the way there on Performance Place, unfortunately, because of just increasing costs, and so we're having to go back to the drawing board on that. But it's, we're just kind of, I feel a little bit like Lucille Ball in that scene where she's just trying to eat all the chocolates on the conveyor belt and just, deal with all of the facilities issues. But we're working our way through.
I would like to ask the cost for a high school student to come to School of the Arts and also a college student.
The cost for the high school students is no tuition. It is 87% in-state, and about, 87% and the rest are from out-of-state. And I can't remember what the tuition is for out-of-state students. Very low, though. It's not anywhere near, for an out-of-state student in the high school, it's nowhere near the cost of a comparable boarding school. But it is free tuition. We receive support from the state, or an allocation from the legislature to pay for the high school, but there's no tuition revenues. The all-in cost for an in-state student in the college is about $8,000-ish, and for out-of-state it's around $20,000 all in. So comparatively speaking, for an out-of-state student, it's an extraordinary competitive advantage. If you want to go to Juilliard or Carnegie Mellon, it's going to be 3 times that, easily, for an out-of-state student. So it's why we were named in Money Magazine as an incredible value. It's one of the reasons why I'm so incredibly grateful to the taxpayers of North Carolina for the level of support that we get, because we're able to maintain that competitive advantage. The downside, of course, is that schools that are charging, much larger tuitions have that revenue flowing in. So there's a downside to the low tuition from an operating standpoint and a deferred maintenance standpoint. So, but I think in 2019, student debt is a large issue.
Chancellor Bierman, you have a thought-provoking motto behind you. I think it's really worth
Thank you.
bringing attention to. Powering creative industry. And it gives us an opportunity to think about those 3 words and what it all means in a lot of what you've said. And you have another part of the school that I think is unique and valuable, the liberal arts section.
Yes.
And I posit that without it, some of that would be destabilized or maybe less able to do what you want to do. So
Yes.
would you make a few comments about the liberal arts?
Yeah, happy to. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I think maybe many people don't realize that we have it raises the issue, what's the difference between a university and a conservatory? So University of North Carolina School of the Arts is a conservatory, or it's a conservatory model of education. And a lot of people associate that with, some sort of 18th century French school where people are drawing and painting. And it's really not that at all. The way I would describe it is learning by doing. So the students come into the conservatory. The reason why it's so intense, and we've done proprietary research on this, we know that the students are drawn to UNCSA, or the students that are drawn to UNCSA have a lot of grit, in meaning that they're persistent, they work hard, they're drawn to the idea of working harder than everybody else, because to succeed in our program, they have to work harder than everybody else. Because we're essentially in a 4-year curriculum, we have a traditional liberal arts program. So you've got a traditional liberal arts foundation, and those classes are typically held in the mornings. But then you also have your conservatory education, where if you're a filmmaker in the School of Filmmaking, you actually start your first year by shooting films. So you're learning by doing. And you're working in an environment, whether it's design and production or stage management, where every part of every production is managed by students. So it's really on-the-job training in an environment where it's safe to fail, and where you have an apprentice who, in the form of a faculty member, who's working alongside you, and in most cases they've come from industry. And so it's a really, I think, especially for today, when we talk about job readiness, it's a really powerful model. And I'll be honest, it's an expensive model of education. There's a very 7-to-1 student-teacher ratio, but it's an effective one. Because there are many places where if you go in the UNC system, there are a lot of programs where the metric is 6-year graduation rate. So it's very common to get your liberal arts degree in 6 years, and then you still go and you get a graduate degree after that. And at UNCSA, we're really cramming graduate level work and graduate level education and an undergraduate liberal arts foundation in 4 years. So that's why it's so hard, and scheduling the students time to do anything beyond liberal arts and performances and rehearsals and ensembles and all the other things they're doing is very, very difficult. Which is why when people ask, well, why do you put the students on tour? They have no time. They literally have no time. So
before we depart, I want to introduce to you another representative of the School of the Arts. This is Ed Lewis. Ed, stand up so everybody knows who you are. He is, guess what, the Director of Development at the And we're so glad to have you here as well. And we can never thank you enough for that enlightening education that we have received. Thank you so much for being here, and everybody please stay and join us at the reception right out the door.